Hey, it's Jeremy here from Holly Performance, and I've got Steve today from our marketing department. He actually came from the B&M Hearst Flowmaster group, but now he works here with us in Bowling Green, and he's got his wife's truck here to do a little bit of modifications to.
So this is a 2014 Chevy Silverado. My wife's looking to put a little bit bigger wheels and tires on this thing. I also want to fix the leveling issue on this thing because these factory trucks have a little bit of rake to them. So we're going to go ahead and install the Anvil 2.5-inch lift kit on this.
Steve, I see you got the Anvil kit all laid out here, so why don't you give me a little rundown of what comes with it?
So on the front here, we're going to take the whole strut assembly out. We're going to put a spacer on the top, and then on the bottom of the strut, we're going to go ahead and put these other spacers. Then on the rear, we're going to go ahead and put new lift blocks, new shackles, and some new hardware. Now first, we're going to start off with the front end here. We're going to go ahead and remove the tire. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the sway bar. We're going to go ahead and remove the caliper, and then take off the upper control arm. We're going to swing that whole assembly out, put these spacers on, and then go ahead and put it all back together. So now we got our wheel off, we're going to go ahead and remove the caliper. We're going to take off these two bolts here and just slide this assembly out. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and remove the sway bar end link right here on top. So next we're going to go ahead and take off the steering end link. Next we're going to remove the two bolts right here that's holding the shock on to the lower control arm. All right, next we're going to go ahead and remove the ABS wire from its holder right here. This will give us a little bit more room for the whole brake assembly once it's disconnected from the upper control arm. All right, next we're going to go ahead and loosen up the nut here on the upper control arm, but you don't want to take it all the way off yet. Okay, you want to leave the nut just a little bit down like this, so you have a gap right here. And then you're going to go ahead and take a hammer, and you're going to hit the knuckle right here, and this will loosen up the control arm from the knuckle. All right, we go ahead and smack the knuckle. It loosened up the control arm, so now you can see there's a gap underneath here. You also want to make sure you have a jack supporting the lower control arm, just in case there's extra tension on the spring. Spin the whole thing. All right, next we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove the three nuts that hold the strut assembly into the frame. All right, now that we've got everything loose and all the bolts removed, now you can see our whole assembly is nice and loose. We're going to go ahead and lower our jack down, and then we'll slide this thing out. Okay. All right, we have our shock assembly out of the vehicle. We're ready to go ahead and put on the new kit. Now on the Anvil, you have the top spacer plate right here. It's just going to simply slide over the studs. Now on the lower shock, when you're ready to put it back on the lower control arm, you're going to slide in the spacer. You want to remove these retainer clips, and then you're going to go ahead and put on the new hardware. All right, we're going to go ahead and slide this in. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our jack up. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and reinstall our three nuts. All right, now we got our upper assembly tightened down. Make sure you check your owner's manual for the proper torque specs. Now we're gonna go ahead and drop the low control arm down. We're gonna go ahead and put the spacer in, and with the supplied hardware, we're gonna take the bolt and put it from the bottom side up. You can notice there is basically a little wall build up right here. We wanna put the spacer from the back side. Okay. Like that. There you go. All right, next we're gonna take the brake assembly. We're gonna go ahead and reconnect the upper control arm. Okay, go ahead. Okay. There it goes. Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and put on the steering link. All right, next, we're going to go ahead and reconnect the sway bar. All right. All right, next we're going to go ahead and reinstall the caliper. All right, next we're going to go ahead and take the ABS wire and put it back in its little holder. All right, that finishes up the install here on the passenger side. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same steps on the driver's side.
Since the whole process for the driver's side was identical to the passenger side, Steve went ahead and moved on to the lift block installation at the rear of the vehicle.
All right, next we're going to go ahead and remove the rear tire here, and then we're going to go ahead and loosen up some of the ABS wires. All right, next we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove the wire holder for the ABS, which is down here, and then there's a second one up here. This is going to give us some slack, so when we disconnect the rear end from the leaf spring, we can drop it down a little bit. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and remove the bolt on the lower part of the shock.
This will take a little bit of attention.
Okay. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove the nuts on the shackles right here. There's 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and then also you want to make sure you have a jack supporting the rear end. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove their shackles, and then remove the bottom bracket. Now we got our shackles removed. We're going to go ahead and remove the factory block that's on the rear end housing. And then now we're going to replace it with the new lift block. Now this has got a taper to it. You want to make sure the taper is pointing towards the front end. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and line it up on the leaf spring. Make sure you got some good pressure underneath it. I'll go ahead and put on the shackles. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and use the factory bottom bracket here that secures it around the axle housing. Now you may have to squeeze the bolts together to get it started. Now we're ready to go ahead and tighten down the shackle bolts. You want to make sure you tighten these down evenly. Okay, now we're going to reattach the shock. Okay. Now everything is finished. We want to go ahead and make sure you put your clips back into the frame. That keeps that ABS out of any kind of harm's way. Then you got the second one right here. Just want to make sure you go ahead and push it in. Now your ABS wire is nice and secure. All right, the Anvil lift is installed on the truck. You can see it gives a little bit more ground clearance, gave the truck a nice looking stance to it, and also allowed me to put on these aggressive 33-inch tires.